This is Iwama town in Ibaraki Prefecture, the home of Aiki, where late Mr. Morihei Ueshiba, founder of Aikido, devoted himself to years of intensive training. This shrine, dedicated to the deity of Aiki, is the symbol of Aikido, a martial art which sets out to protect peace and order on earth. In 1941, the founder moved over to Iwama town and established a martial art embodying all the ingredients of its own and every other martial art. You are lost, get back to basics. Through this movie, we want to take another look at Aikido with the eyes of an unspoiled beginner. Suburi is an act of swinging a wooden sword about 1 meter long up and down without your partner. It is a basic exercise embodying the secrets of Japanese swordsmanship. Swing the sword over your head with your left hand holding the rear end of the hilt and your right hand touching the forward part lightly. As you swing the sword down, start gripping it with the little finger, followed by the other fingers. By so doing, the sword will stay within the center line of the body. Such suburi helps the trainee build a stabilized posture in taijutsu, or empty-handed Aikido exercises. This form of suburi requires twisting your hips as you draw your right foot back and swinging the sword over your head while staying clear of the line of your opponent's thrusting attack. Tanden uchi is a more effective exercise than suburi in stabilizing your hips because you have to have a firm hold on the sword and lower your hips to avoid being repelled. The secret of this kokyu-ho lies in splitting and imparting the ken gripping art to your both hands. This exercise cannot be performed properly unless your hands, feet, and other parts of the body act in unison. This kokyu-ho, which is a must in day-to-day Aikido training, serves to build by degrees abdominal breath power and establish a complete interface between suburi and taijutsu. Here's a concrete example demonstrating the relationship between suburi and taijutsu. The fairly firm hold applied by the opponent goes unheeded altogether. As shown here, the suburi motions can be applied to taijutsu without the slightest difficulty because of their harmonious blend and freedom from conflict with the force of the opponent. This particular exercise is called shiho nage. Aligning your toes and turning your body the minute the holding starts is called urawaza, or turning technique. Shiho nage, as a matter of fact, is the outgrowth of the Japanese fencing art. Aikido techniques, be they omotewaza or urawaza, are essentially designed to cope with multiple attacks. The techniques, of course, can equally be applied to one attacker as well. kotegaeshi, or wrist twist, which also bears resemblance to the Japanese fencing art, is being introduced here after omotewaza and urawaza. Body movements required at a time when you are surrounded by enemies on all sides can also be explained with a theory of the Japanese fencing art. Intensive study is required regarding a variety of irimi, or entering techniques and body turns. Aikido is taijutsu translated from the Japanese fencing art, and vice versa. This film is going to introduce awase-ho, or how to blend your ki, or spiritual energy, with your opponents, kumitachi, or sword engagements in partner practice and its variations, as well as tachidori, or sword taking. Awase means blending your ki with your partner's. As a consequence, your movements are synchronized with his. Awase-ho, introduced here, is mainly an analyzed version of kimusubi no tachi, or ki blending swordsmanship. It features ample use of the body to augment the effectiveness of ken, as typified in irimi, or entering movements into the rear of the partner. Awase-ho requires a good amount of training as a prerequisite to the next, more sophisticated exercise, kumitachi. This is kumitachi. Kimusubi no tachi. First kumitachi. Second kumitachi. Third kumitachi. Fourth kumitachi. Fifth kumitachi. These represent a series of kumitachi variations. From ichi no tachi, or first sword demonstration, to go no tachi, 2 variations each are demonstrated. A variation of the first strike and another variation of the second strike. These variations are instantly adaptable to taijutsu. The kumitachi techniques, when implemented according to the principle of aiki, ramify into all sorts of variations, bringing under control the arm, elbow, and foot of your opponent. These varied techniques are considered most suitable in making your opponent aware that might is not everything. Tachidori is a sword-taking technique which is applied when you have to face your opponent empty-handed. This technique calls for advancing rightward with your right foot or leftward with your left foot in a move to subdue your opponent. There is no set rule as such governing the body movements in this regard. These movements are really free and uninhibited. However, kokyu nage, or abdominal breath throw, kotegaeshi, and irimi techniques are all based on the principle of aiki, which purports a blending of your and your opponent's ki. Tachidori may be regarded as a process of transition to taijutsu. It also could be a process of letting us discard our inclination to depend on arms. Aikido shall not be treated as a sport, for the simple reason that the art lumps together in an undistinguishable lot those techniques which are dangerous and those which are not. The severity of the art requires serious and earnest training. Because of such characteristic, Aikido will constantly provide its trainees with a major guideline toward attainment of their objectives. Aikido is a way of life which is unlimited both in depth and mileage. The posture required in the Aikido jaw exercises is an oblique stance, which is assumed in a manner of one's natural walk coming to a halt. Compared with Ken, jaw has much more multifaceted uses in its implementation. Look at these one-man jaw movements. There are numerous patterns in thrusting exercises. Here we have chosen 5 patterns. They are practiced slowly at first. Rapid execution follows next. The multifaceted feature of jaw, in comparison with Ken, has resulted from the fact that jaw has no upper or lower part as such, has no blade, and any portion of the one uniform piece can be used to tactical advantage. What is important in jaw training is the grip. Jaw must be gripped as if you are wringing a towel, as is the case with Ken, at the time of thrusting and striking. The quickest manipulation of jaw is possible if you find yourself holding its center at the time of turning jaw for the next move. This is called